here to help you. Oh, by the way, welcome to another edition of Sales Life. The Sales Life is some of us make a living at sales, but all of us make a life at selling. This episode and all of these episodes on the Sales Life on Sales is for those in the sales profession. Now, for those of you, if you're not in the sales profession, you may want to stick around for this one because we get stuck in life. But if this is not for you, man, then you can bounce out, check out the other podcast, The Sales Life. That's the mothership, man. That's over 600 episodes where you can, because I say this is all of us are selling our way through life. So it's taking some of the skills that we learn by profession and apply those to our personal life. So, it's amazing when you're on a slick spot, when you're picking up the L's, how many P's you pick up along with the L's as well. So when you get on a slick spot, you tend to pick up one more or all of the three P's. And the three P's are personalization, permanence, and pervasiveness. And the more that you pick those up, personalization, permanence, or pervasiveness, the worst things get for you. Now, hang tight just a second because now I got to let my Great Dane out. You want to see my Great Dane real quick? This is Nola. All right. So, a loss of perspective, like I was telling you, man, it can jack you up. And you fail to remember that when you're in sales, this isn't your first and only slick spot. If you're new to sales, welcome aboard. And you're on a slick spot, you're going to have many, many more. So you gotta remember that. You're the captain of this slick. You are. And what's difficult is really no one can help you on your slick spot. And sometimes your perspective can get all jacked up. And these death spirals, man, they get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And I've seen many good salespeople bounce out because it just got too dark and too heavy for them. And what this episode is about, man, is how to make sure that you don't go down with the slick, man. I don't want you to go down with it. You're the captain of your slick, but I don't want you to go down with it. So the first thing you got to watch is you got to watch your speech. Because, see, through your speech is when you're enforcing the very thing that you don't want to have happen. And speech is super, super powerful because if you're talking about the things that you don't want to have happen, what's going to happen? It's going to keep getting worse. And this is where it says, see, man, it happened again. Man, I can't win for lose. You're saying all these kind of different things. And one thing I tell my salespeople when I hear them say it, man, I'm getting all the bad customers. I say, stop. Don't say that. You can think it all day long, but don't verbalize it, because when you verbalize it, and we've talked about that in previous episodes, is stop saying stupid stuff. Okay. You can't give life to those things. So rolling out as we are here, the number one thing that you got to stop doing is you got to watch your speech and stop enforcing the thing that you don't want to have happen. Because what happens is when you speak it, then it's going to affect your thinking, and then your thinking is what's going to jack up your perspective. And what was once a challenge for you now becomes a threat. See, when you're winning, everything's a challenge, right? So you can have the most difficult situation, the most difficult customer, the most, the against all odds kind of sale. And when you're in that challenge mindset and you're winning, you say, oh, bring it on. Let's go. No problem. But take that same scenario when you're losing, when you're on a losing streak, and everything becomes a threat, doesn't it? So what I want you to do is I want you to take heed to Martin Seligman's 3 Ps. And the 3 Ps is what's going to, it'll help you Realizing these 3 P's, because sometimes, man, you may be doing these things and you don't even realize it. And this is going to help you stay out of this woe is me land. And you'll be able to handle the hard moments and begin to win again. And it'll keep you out of this victim state mentality. So let's talk about the 3 P's real quick. The first one, man, is personalization. Do not personalize everything. And when you're losing, you tend to personalize everything. You think it's you. And it is, but it's not. It's up to you, but it's not you. So it's up to you what you do with these certain situations. And what's important is that you don't crack during these situations. Many times when you get on a slick spot, the first thing we do is we tend to personalize it. So you think that you've lost your touch. You think that this business isn't for you anymore. And you start kicking the can down the road. You think because you don't have your lucky underwear anymore, you start smelling underneath your armpits. You start thinking, man, your results right now stink, but you don't stink. So don't personalize the situation, man. And so what's important is you don't take it personal. You got to make it personal. And what I mean by that is you make the personal adjustments. You don't take it all personal. It's where you are right now. It's not who you are. So you make it personal by adjusting. And you adjust your approach. You adjust your cadence. Sometimes, man, when you get on a slick spot, you tend to talk very fast because you want to hurry up and get the loss over with. Hurry up and tell me no. You gotta make it personal by making those necessary adjustments, adjusting your technique. One thing, I don't remember which episode we talked about. It was Cal Ripken. And when he was on, the legendary Cal Ripken, baseball player, and when he was on a losing streak, he said, I use those times to actually work on techniques that I'd been too fearful to work on when I was winning. See, when you're winning, you're trying to preserve the winning. So it's working. So I'm going to just keep making it work. But he said, when I'm losing, what a better time. I'm already losing anyway. So those techniques that have been shelving, why not take them off the shelf and put them to work and see? So this is where you have to start making, maybe the business is evolving. Maybe it's changing and you've been resisting. And many times the thing about sales is it'll let you build up. It'll let you work these kind of different things. It'll let you get by. That's what I'm trying to say. It'll let you get by with certain things. But after a while, she'll say, no more. It's time for you to change. And sometimes, man, when you're in these bottom out moments, this is where you got to make it personal, where you make the necessary adjustments, start working on techniques. And yes, initially, dude, you're going to suck. You're not going to be very good at it, but just keep taking it on. You're already taking the L's anyway. It's not working for you. So make the necessary adjustments as well. Also, do not personalize when your customers are rejecting you. Don't single out the losses, man. Don't personalize the losses. Don't. Okay, your customers are telling you no, but sometimes it's because of your approach. Sometimes it's because your technique. Sometimes it didn't come out very smooth. Slow your cadence down. Relax. Let things happen. They're going to happen. Let me tell you this, and this is what I got to remind myself. I've got enough in the tank. I'm ready for anything. I've got enough experience and been in enough situations that I can still be an asset to my customer. I can still bring value to this situation, even though sometimes, man, it seems like when you're trying to change things, you get the worst situations from the worst customers. And you're like, oh my God, when is this going to break? This is the part, man, that's good. It's just building that resilience in you. It's building that maturity in you also. You have to think of this. You got to think like a good golfer, man. You got to play the round, not the hole. That's so important. Play the round, not the hole. Meaning that even if you have a blow-up hole, okay, a blow-up hole for you in sales is just that day. It may be that week. So just because you have a series of bad holes, do not let that affect your whole round. Your whole round is your whole month, your whole quarter, your whole year, your whole career. Don't let that happen, okay? So that's the number one thing is don't personalize it. The second one is Don't believe that it's permanent. If you know you can't go through your sales life undefeated, then why do you believe that you're going to go and stay defeated? It's impossible. It's impossible to stay defeated unless you make it so. It is. So, one thing I have to remind myself is, Marsh, all your customers can't say no. But make sure the no that you hear is from them and not assumed by you. Many times when we're on a slick spot and we're personalizing it, we start telling ourselves no instead of feeling the no. Okay. The no is difficult, man. The no, especially when you're not winning. When you're winning, it's just a challenge. Oh, yeah, you're going to tell me no? Well, let me offer some different perspectives. But when you're losing the no, you're way more sensitive to it, right? So you have to look at it like that, man, is understand it's not permanent. It's not going to stay this way forever. And so you just have to keep making the necessary adjustments. The third one, don't let your slick spots be pervasive. Don't. I'll put this one last on purpose because this is usually the match that burns everything down. So when you're losing in one area, you begin to expect to lose in every area of your life. It's not so. So your rough patch at work. So pervasive means that it's going to bleed on everything else. And so we tend to think that when something, okay, I'm losing at work, the rough patch that you're having at work has got nothing to do with the water leak at home. It ain't got nothing to do with it. It's got nothing to do with your baby having explosive diarrhea, okay? Or the fact that you just bought a brand new set of tires and you got a blowout on your way home from one of the worst days that you've ever had. And you're like, oh, I mean, how much worse can life get, right? It's not pervasive. So don't let everything bleed on to everything else. And so there are going to be times in your life where you're winning personally, but you're losing professionally. It's going to happen. That there is no such thing as balance in life. So there are going to be times where things will, you've done a great job and life rewards you with things going very well in your personal life. But then life will tip the scales on your professional side and will put you through the ringer where you if you offered to buy it for the customer, they wouldn't even buy it. You got to have situations like that. So, but what's important is you don't let things bleed onto the other. Also, the flip side, there are going to be times where your personal life isn't going well, but maybe your professional life is going well. One side can always help the other. So what's important is just because one side's not working doesn't mean you make it all go into the tank. It's where you personalize it. It's where you think it's going to be permanent. And you just say, oh, well, and you throw your hands up on everything. No, it's not pervasive. So you have to segment it. This is very difficult. And so you don't, when the pervasive tries to creep in, where you've gone past the thing where you personalize it. You went past that a week ago. And then you think it's going to be permanent. So now everything you have an eye now where everything is pervasive, don't let your mind go there, man. And so many times to help me out of these situations, I'll make fun of the suck, man, when I suck. So for instance, if I have a customer that was a grinder of a deal and I didn't make any money, or it was $150 flat or a goose egg, I'll go in, I'll turn it in and say, look, this is how you put up good gross right here. This is how you make sales. And the guys will look at it and they'll see the nothing gross and they'll be like, and they start laughing. I got to make fun of the suck. Did I challenge everything I possibly could? Was my cadence good? Did I think of other options? Did I offer new, unique perspectives? If the answer is yes to all that, and it's still the customers, I can't help the customer. I can't make the decision for the customer. I can heavily influence it that it's a good decision. Here's why. But at the end of the day, if they say no after I've challenged it and offered several ways to look at it, at the end of the day, if it's a no, it's a no. So I turn it in and I make it personal. I make the necessary adjustments. And dude, I always look for next. There's always next. And you got to remember that. This is not the last situation you're ever going to have. This is not the last customer that you're going to have. This is not the last month that you're going to ever have. This is not your end all be all commission. And if you got to make this deal because you got to figure out how to pay the rent, it ain't because of this one situation. It's because of what you did all the other 26 days. That's number one, man. You got to zoom that out and you got to realize that. I make fun of the suck. Not that it's not, something to take serious. I take my career serious. I take what I do serious. But the situation, I don't take it serious, because what will happen is that's when the bleeding begins. That's when the barrier between professional and personal life, where it was right there, and the floodgates break open and then everything goes bad. I don't let that happen. And so you make the necessary adjustments. You look for next, because I know this. Number one, I don't personalize it. It ain't me. It could be some things that I'm doing, but it ain't me personally. Okay. Number two, I know the losses won't stay forever. I can't stay undefeated, so I won't stay defeated either. I got to keep showing up, and I got to keep showing up with the right attitude. And also, I don't let it bleed. I don't let it go on to the next deal. I don't let it carry on to the next day. Carry the lessons forward, not the emotions of it. Okay. That's the biggest thing. This is super, super hard to do. And this is, if you look at these 3 Ps and you remind yourself of these 3 Ps and you analyze these 3 Ps and you say, which of these 3 Ps am I in right now? Am I personalizing it? Am I taking it personal? Okay. Am I looking at it that it's permanent? This is for the rest of my life. Is this going to be for the rest of my life? No, hell no. That's not the case. And am I letting this bleed on to every other area of my life? If you ask yourself these questions, then what you'll do is you'll be able to spot, you'll be able to shut your mouth, and you'll roll up your sleeves and go to work. And you remind yourself of these things. And this is what I do, man. Literally, this is what I do. So, Marsh, look, it's not you. Make it personal. What do you need to make the adjustments? Write down 2 or 3 things that you could have done differently. Rework it. Replay it out again as if the customer's sitting right there in front of you. And if you do that, you'll get better at it. Your subconscious doesn't know if a customer's right there in front of you or not. Make the necessary adjustments. So I don't personalize it. Personal. The next thing is, I know it's not going to be forever, so I don't make it permanent. And then I don't let it bleed on. So ask yourself this question right now. If you do this, this will develop the maturity that you need in sales. This is why you see some of the senior salespeople, when they get on a slick spot, they don't seem to crack. They don't seem to blow up at everybody. It's because they recognize the 3 Ps and they learn the management. If you see it for what it is, then you can make the necessary adjustments from there. This way, I've seen a lot of great salespeople that could have been really, really good had they stayed in the business. But what happened is they ended up blurring the lines. And they blurred the lines. They lumped it all together and they say, oh, well, I'm out of here. And hard is hard. That's why it's called hard. Okay. Sales is not easy. And so the moments aren't easy. If you won every single time, you never grow. You never appreciate the wins. And if you lost continuously, you bounce out. But there's wins in the losses, and there's losses in the wins. And you just have to make sure that you're calibrating yourself the right way. So which of the 3 Ps are you participating in right now? And you may not even know that you're even participating in it. Ask yourself that question. Leave it in the comments below. Also, if you want to re-listen to this episode and you want to listen to it on the podcast, it's going to be right there. I'm going to post it as soon as we get off. I'm going to post it on the podcast. Also, I'll put the today's show notes if you want to read it. If you're a reader, I'll put the show notes up on the saleslife.coach. So that way you can check it out there. Remember, the greatest sale that you will ever make is to sell you on you, because you're more than enough. Stay amazing. Never settle. Keep selling your way through life no matter what.